In this demo program, using variables, you will immediately see from copying and pasting the code from my website that there are some squiggly underlines. Holding your mouse over the squiggly underlines sometimes tells you what the problem is. Hey, gas subtotal is undefined. Well, that means that the variable name, gas subtotal, was never declared up in the variable declaration area of your program. You see, these are all variables where you need to store amounts of money or costs or whatever. Instead of using x and y like you do in algebra, we like to use whole words as variable names in computer science. It makes your program easier to understand and read. But the programmer here forgot to declare a variable named gas subtotal, and unfortunately in C++, all variables must be declared somewhere higher earlier in the program than the spot where you try to use that variable. So let's all come up here and make a new line, perhaps right here, and choose a data type for gas subtotal. Instead of question marks, we have to choose what type of variable this is going to be. Well, you got to think, is the amount of money spent on gas going to be a whole number or a decimal number? Probably a decimal number, because price of gas is often like 99 cents. So the data type that we use in C++ for decimal numbers, at least in this course, is double. If it were something that was a whole number only, like the number of apples you purchased, that would be int, because nobody buys half of an apple. And int is short for integer. The word double, just think of it as for decimal numbers. It's double the size of an int in terms of memory, and it's just the word double. Anytime you declare a variable, in this course at least, you should tab over here and type a little explanation as to what that variable is used for. Well, subtotal of gas purchased by customer would be a good description. I don't need you to use complete sentences. Just keep your description nice and short so it stays on the printed page when you hand this in. Hey, while we're over here, I hate it when these comments are not lined up vertically. So let's tab all these forward so that they line up nice and neatly, like that. Okay, well immediately, gas subtotal down below is no longer squiggly underlined. So we already took care of that error. But look, banana subtotal is also squiggly underlined. So you're correct. We need to come in to the top area there and declare that variable properly before we try to use it in the program. And you should always set variables equal to 0, or in the case of a double, 0.0, just for safe programming. Put a little message over here as to the purpose of that variable. I know it's pretty obvious. Banana subtotal gets the point across. But programs get more complex over time, and you should really explain things as you go, because not everybody that you work with might understand. Well, my squiggly underline didn't go away. Does anybody have an idea why? Banana subtotal. It's because I use a capital S down here and there's a lowercase s up here. C++ is case sensitive, so make sure you use a capital S there for good style and consistency. The last squiggly underline, well, let's try to compile the program. Build, compile, and see if everything's cleaned up. Nope. There's an error down here. You can't see it, but down below in my error list, it says missing semicolon somewhere on line number 25. I double-click this top error, and it thinks that the missing semicolon is on this line. Well, if I zoom in and look closely, it is missing a semicolon. I typed a colon there by accident when I meant a semicolon. So replace that colon on line number 25 with a semicolon, and immediately recompile your program again. And even though there were 2 other errors listed, they went away because that was the only real error in the code. Now that we've debugged the program, we're ready to execute the program. So join me in clicking debug. Start without debugging. That's my recommendation here. And the program executes. Well, the program stops at this line right here where it says please enter the number of gallons because it's waiting for me to type in input. Get it? Console input CN. It's waiting for me to type a number. Let's just keep it simple and type 1 as our first test case. This 1 is about to be stored in the variable num gallons. When I press the enter key, it's in there. Now it's prompting me to input a number for bananas. Let's keep it simple and just type a 2 there. What you should do on your paper, your scratch paper, is you should keep track of all this by recording what's being stored in the memory of the computer. So maybe on your scratch paper, you make a column for num gallons, and maybe you make a column for num bananas, and write nice little lines under there. Darn it. Notepad doesn't let you underline things, so forget that idea. But right now, num gallons was 0, and now it's storing the number 1. Num bananas started its life at 0, but now it's storing the number 2. So if I could, I would put a line through that. Format, font. I'd like put a fancy little line through that if I, yeah, strike. Nope, figures. Notepad doesn't let you put a little line through that. So anyway, that's erased, and now we have a 1. That 0 has been overwritten with the 2 that was inputted. Now I hit the enter key down in my program, and the program continues executing and says the total price is $4.33. Let's check its calculations. In this computation area of the program, the computer always works from right to left. It does the mathematical stuff on the right of the equal symbol, and whatever that number simplifies to, that number gets assigned and stored into the variable that's over here. Gas subtotal is currently a 0. See, 0. But it's soon going to be equal to something, so let's double check. Num gallons is currently 1. 1 times gas price, well, gas price up here is 3.00. So that's 1 times 3. You always do the parentheses first. Let's remember that. That's a 3. Over here, we got to do this set of parentheses. Num gallons, we already studied, was a 1. And gas tax is 0.33. So 1 times 0.33 is 0.33. So what do we get when we take 3.00 and add it to 0.33? Well, the grand total of $3.33. 333 is now what's being stored in gas subtotal. I need to make a column for gas subtotal. I'd do this on scratch paper and not Notepad if I could. Gas subtotal was 0, or 0.0 to be technical, and now it's 3.33. Now banana subtotal executes. This line of code executes. Num bananas is 2, and banana price we look up above is 0.50, cheap bananas. So banana subtotal, the variable banana subtotal, started out at 0.0, according to this program, but now it's 2 times 50 cents, 1.00, or just 1.0 is good. Finally, the program gets down here to this line with total price. Total price is a variable that was declared up above. It started out at 0.0. See, right here. And it's now overwritten with whatever gas subtotal plus banana subtotal is. 3.33 plus 1.0 should be 4.33. Let's check our output to see if Cout total price is total price. It better match. Yes, it does. 4.33. In assignment 2, you have to round to the nearest whole number. But in this demo program, it prints it out accurately to the nearest penny. Well, that's for you to figure out from my website or a later class, how to do rounding. So there you have it. This program, when executing from top down like C++ programs do in this course, this program works nicely. It prints out the total price. Notice how I got the $ sign in there. And because I do not have double quotes around total price, the number that's stored behind the scenes in total price, 4.33, prints out. If I would have put quotes around this, then the letters TOTALPRICE would have printed out, which would be dumb. So by combining this phrase, total price is $, and the variable, it works out perfectly in my output window as with this. Okay, besides variables that are declared up here, it's wise and good style to have constants for things that are not allowed to change. The price of gas in this program is fixed at 3.00. So by putting the word const there in front, it's optional, but it's good style. This keeps the programmer from accidentally changing gas price as he types out hundreds or thousands of lines of code when this program is upgraded. It's just like wearing your seatbelt. Slapping the word const there in front of this keeps gas price from being changed. Num bananas, for example, it's up to the user to input with CN how many gallons or how many bananas he or she bought. So that is not something you should make a constant, because we don't want it to stay 0. It needs to be whatever the person inputs. So some things should be constants, some things should not have the word const out front. If you do make something a constant, it's good style to type out its name in all uppercase letters. And when you have 2 words or more, then you separate it with an underscore. Variables, on the other hand, they should not have underscores, and the first letter should be lowercase, with each successive word uppercase. These style rules are explained in my notes. Just read that closely. The parentheses here are optional because the computer will, C++ at least, will automatically do multiplication before it does addition. But if you think it's good for style, then go ahead and add the parentheses. Some people, they do this all as one statement. All of this, these 3 separate statements, could be combined as one statement. Don't do this, but just watch. Instead of gas subtotal here, I could take all of this, cut it, and put it there in place of that. Instead of banana subtotal, I could take all of this, cut it, and replace that with that. I don't even need these 2 lines of code now. Goodbye. I don't even need the variable gas subtotal anymore because it's not used anywhere. Goodbye. Same for banana subtotal. Goodbye. Cleaning up the program, consolidating it. This program will still work if I try to execute it.